And we are live. Hello, everybody. And I've got an awesome interview ready for you. It's kind of like one of the other interviews I did with Dan Berthum, where it's kind of an interview and kind of a review. Who we have here is Damon Greene. Why don't you go ahead and wave to us and say hi since you're on camera, Damon?
Hey, everybody, what's going on?
Really appreciate you taking the time. So let's get through this intro and jump into this interview because we have an interesting angle. So you received a review copy because I was very interested in hearing your thoughts because you and I have been talking a lot about this whole thing with the 12-week year. And we even chatted a little bit about beforehand that planning in my opinion, and I don't know about you, seems to supersede the outsourcing, right? So I wanted to get a review copy in your hands because you've been very active in the 12-week year. Maybe you give us some initial thoughts about the importance of planning along with outsourcing. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I've outsourced in the past, and I've done so okay. I mean, I've got one person that's been with me for years, and I didn't really go through a lot of the pains of what I hear a lot of other people. But one thing I can say is planning. Typically I sucked at planning, and after you mentioned the 12-week year, after I went through that, and I really consumed it, I literally about 4 to 5 times read through it and spent a lot of time figuring out sort of planning aspect. And once you have a plan and you know whatever it is you need to do for a project or projects, then you know what you need to outsource and what you need to spend your time on. So the discussions we've had, that makes absolute sense how the two tie together. So yeah, I think planning is the most important part of anything. It's a pain in the ass and most people don't do it, but when you do it, it's like it makes things so much easier. So then you can say, okay, I know I need to outsource these 5 tasks here because they're repetitive. I'm doing them weekly and it's $5 to $10 an hour job. So let me ship that off to somebody.
Yeah. All right, so then with your experience with planning and knowing how important it is, now that you've had some time to go through Outsource Kingpin, what are your initial thoughts on that?
Yeah, I didn't go through the whole thing because I'm in the thick of my plan and knocking a few of these goals out. But I like the semantic mastery approach anyway. Bradley's a real good trainer and teacher, so he kind of goes through things really in depth. But the repetitive tasks, I never thought about it that way. He did mention one thing. One of the notes I took was, get rid of the repetitive tasks. I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it as tasks overall. Documentation, and that's something that I'm very clear on because due to the 12-week year, I'm documenting things because I have a tendency to over-index myself and spend a little too much time on things or not know how much time it takes to do something. So I'm in the midst of documenting processes now, not particularly for the purpose of outsourcing initially, but now that I look at it, if I know how long it takes, then I should know how long it'll take someone else to do.
Yeah.
The best times to outsource, he mentioned, as soon as you can, which that totally makes sense. A lot of people want to kind of wait and say, okay, I'm gonna just wait until I perfect this, and you don't have to. But the biggest thing I think I got so far, actually I know I got so far, was the way that he does his documentation. Because what he mentioned was going through the task yourself and recording yourself doing it, then going back over those recordings and actually checklisting and documenting it that way. Like, that's just genius. I've done something similar to that before, but typically what I do is either A or B. I'd sit down and checklist it out, or I just sit down behind the computer and say, this is what needs to be done, follow along, and I'll walk through it. I never really married the two of those together, so I think that's actually a really, really good strategy. Again, it's one of those things that's time consuming, but you do it once and then you don't have to do it again. You can hand it off, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, it's the front end work. That's the pain in the neck part. But everybody, from you to Bradley to brand new people, have said the same thing, and myself included. Once it's done, you're so happy it's over, because it takes care of itself, right? So then with that, you're a little ways through the content. It sounds like you're actively pursuing this. Where do you see yourself in the implementation of this in the next 30 days?
The next 30, because I'm actually doing some documentation for what I'm doing now. I actually have probably my, I can't say my first outsourcer, but another outsourcer I have is my children. So because I'm laying out these procedures, I'll probably have to do it a little different now because I don't have the video. So moving forward, I'll shoot a video and then backwards track. I have checklists now, so I have to actually do the checklist and then go into the video. But I'm gonna pass that off. So in the next 30 days, I'll definitely have a few tasks that I've time stamped to identify how long it's taken, and then the process I can start handing those off little by little to either like I said, my kids or the VA I have that's been with me for about 5 years in the Philippines. I just haven't had any work for her. So
Very nice. All right, so then the next thing I'm wondering is that there's obviously people watching this or will soon be watching this. What would you say to the viewers right now who are on the fence? Maybe they're just trying to figure out what they should be doing next, or they're just having some issues. From your point of view, what would you say to somebody who's trying to figure out what to do next as far as outsourcing goes?
in my opinion, I'd say if someone is trying to figure it out and they're on the fence, more than likely they're building a business. So they might not think that they need outsourcing. And this is why you actually need it, because once you can understand the right time to outsource and understand, all the intricacies involved early on, you'll save yourself a whole lot of time. Like Bradley had mentioned, he got to the point where he was so over-indexed, he was looking for a way to scale, and he couldn't scale by himself. And he's like, kind of, what do I do? You don't want to get to that point and then try and figure out what it is. So if you're on the fence, this is definitely something if you'd like to have, if you're looking to improve your business, or not even just improve your business monetarily, if you're looking to improve your lifestyle. Like, I'll give you a story. I've heard, outsourcing for years, and I was that guy, much like Bradley, that used to go do everything myself. Well, I had partnered up with a guy who had he had a guy that did some work for him off of I think it was Upwork or something. It was Odesk at the time, and I had a task that I've been sitting on for a project for about 3 months, 3 to 6 months. Um, my partner at the time asked me, he said, "Hey, you got anything like, this needs to move faster. What can I help you with?" I was like, "Well, I have this." Well, I can't even remember what it was, but whatever it was, I was, dragging my behind on it. So I gave it to him and said, "Okay, here." That was on like a Friday. I came back on Monday and it was done. And at that point in time, I was like, "You big dummy, you should have been doing this earlier." Because for what took me, it took me, say, 3 to 6 months to not do, I had done in 3 days. And then I was just like, I threw my hands in the air, was like, this is awesome. I can get so much done. And that's when I started to use outsourcing. But had I known 10 years earlier, I would have been doing it a lot more. So if you're one of those people that are on the fence, I would think you're probably on the fence because you're thinking, oh, I don't need this now. But if you're serious about your business, you will need this. So I would highly encourage you to grab it, because you'll kick yourself down the line when you're like, oh, what was that outsourcing Kingpin thing? And you finally buy
Hmm.
it, and then you'll look at it 10 years down the line, and you're like, oh man, I wish I should have done this sooner. And that was my experience overall with outsourcing. And once I did it once, I was like, this is just the best thing. Like, wow, 6 months, 3 days. Somebody doesn't even know me, and it's done. And whatever it was some sort of content or transcription or something. I'm not 100% sure, but whatever it was, it helped out significantly because I was just like, wow, I don't even know what to do with myself now that this is done. So
Yeah, because you spent all that time carrying around like, oh, I got to do that thing, and now all of a sudden it's gone. You have that huge weight lift. You're like, wait a second, it could be this easy all the time.
yep. And like that's to your point there, it frees up your time. And when you free up your time, and if you want to spend more time with your family, with your friends, whatever the case may be, who likes sitting behind a computer all day? I don't. I do it for a living, but I don't want to sit behind a computer all day. I'd rather have somebody that
Oh
can
yeah,
knock this out and I can go out and, go spend time with the kids, go on a date, go to the lake, get on some jet skis, go try whatever the case may be, something. I don't
yeah.
want to sit around here like, oh yeah, I'm making money, and I'm sitting behind a computer for 24 hours. That's stupid. Like you make money to enjoy it. You should be able to enjoy the money you make or enjoy family, whatever the case may be, whatever your thing is. And outsourcing allows that. Yes, you have to invest. It's not an expense. You have to invest in someone else, but you're investing in someone else to make your life easier.
Yeah, well, and Bradley's made it pretty clear. Like, I mean, you do have to have focused, concentrated effort on your part to make it happen. I mean, it's not some
Yeah.
magic lamp that's gonna make all your wishes come true. But if you put the effort into it, it might as well be a magic lamp, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's not push button riches, but it definitely frees up your time for. And the other way he puts it, which I'm a complete advocate of this, you're working on your business, not in your business, and your time is
Hmm.
better spent on those high dollar, $250 to $2,500 an hour tasks, not the $10 an hour task that you're spending most of your time on. So
Yep.
you want to spend your time on those high dollar tasks and actually make $250 to $2,500 an hour doing those, and then taking that money you're getting and then giving that to your outsourcers to do those smaller, mundane, and repetitive tasks so you can grow your business and scale and get the big dollars. That's ultimately why you'd want to outsource, which also again it frees your time up.
Very well said.
And
Hey, well,
stress, a lot less stress too. Once it's all put together, there's a whole lot less stress with that.
absolutely agree. Well, I appreciate your time. Those were some excellent final thoughts. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Folks, go ahead. I have a button either here on the video or below or to the right, wherever it may be, where you can check out more information about Outsource Kingpin. Again, thank you very much for your time, Damon. I know that there will be more information, especially about the planning stuff, because when I first started getting involved in helping with Outsource Kingpin, there was a lot of discussion about planning and things like that. So if you're interested in hearing more, Damon, is there somewhere you can refer people to learn more about planning, 12-week year, that kind of stuff, something that you have to offer?
I don't have a direct URL right now, but we can put something.
I can make sure something's on here on the screen or something, right?
Yeah, we'll get something up there.
Excellent. Okay, well, thank you again. Going to go ahead and stop broadcast. See you soon.
All right.